What is up, friends? My name is Laura. If you've never visited my YouTube channel before, welcome. Today I am bringing you a special Q&A about Aconcagua specifically. As many of you know, I did Summit December 2019. I have made quite a few different videos about it, whether that's my Summit experience, getting to Basecamp, preparing for any of that. So I will make sure to link those below. On those previous videos, I have received quite a few different questions. Most of the questions end up being the same thing, like what was the exact cost, about the permit process, just about who I use, and all those kind of things. So I made sure to write down the 6 probably most popular questions, and I will be answering them for you today. So the first question that I always get asked is who I used for a guided company. So I did it 2 different ways. The first year I did it full service, so that includes a guide, that includes all the food, that includes basically every single thing, pick up from the airport, all those things. I had a wonderful experience. I used Grijalas. The second year, I also used Grijalas. That's for sure who I would recommend. However, the second year, if you guys have seen any of my previous videos, I just use logistics. So basically from Basecamp onward, I did not get a guide. I was doing it with one other person. You get food at Basecamp, you get still like mules to carry to Camp 1. You get a pickup from the airport, some hotels, but you do not get that assistance from there on out. You also still get like a radio from Basecamp to the summit, just those kind of precautions, but you do not get that actual guide there. I definitely would never recommend going by yourself, and I probably would recommend more of like a group of 3 or 4. But regardless, most of the people that were at Basecamp, regardless if you're using like Mountain Madness, there's a lot of different companies and they're always switching their name too. But they're basically all outsourcing through Grijalas for at least their food, whether that's at Confluencia or at Basecamp. So I would highly recommend just going through and not, paying extra for and just cutting out the middleman and just going with Grijalas. I had a great experience. They're really, really nice people. They were very organized the entire time. And honestly, I had a really great experience. And I honestly rarely am super passionate about that kind of stuff, I feel like. So if you are using anyone, 100% not sponsored, would just go with Grijalas. Second tip I got was any advice for the ladies. And I know probably 95% of you that are watching this are gonna be men, so I'm gonna make this quick, but obviously I'm a female and I did go up to Aconcagua. I would say 90% of people at the base camp, to get to base camp, will be men. I don't think there's a single female I saw for sure at the summit, and I don't really remember it. Everyone kind of looks the same. For the actual summit day. It's very rarely that you do see a female up there, but there are some. I don't really have specific, I've been an athlete, I've been around guys all my life. Expect to share a tent probably with a guy unless you're going with a girlfriend. Expect to have to pee in the tent next to a guy. Just expect everyone to be disgusting. That's my only advice. If you're a girly girl, probably wouldn't go up there, but it's gonna be mainly males up there. They're really, really nice. Everyone's so nice up there. I cannot believe how just friendly not only the workers were, but also just everyone. Everyone has the same goal in mind. So whether you're female or you're male, everyone wants to summit, and I want everyone to summit around me. Like, it's such a great group, and the more the merrier, honestly, once you're up there, because it ends up being the support system. So it doesn't matter if you're a male or a female, but good job, ladies. So I actually got this question twice, would be any advice if you get cold hands or feet. I don't know if I've ever met anyone who gets colder hands or feet than I do. I'm really bad. I had extra, I'll be honest, but I brought up 30 foot warmers and 30 hand warmers, and I wore them most nights to bed over top of my sock. And then I brought a lot up for the actual summit day. And especially once you hit Camp 2 and Camp 3, you're really gonna utilize them. I really don't think I utilized them when I was actually hiking until the summit day, but just once the sun goes down, it gets really cold, especially if there's that wind. Honestly, when you actually look up the weather of Aconcagua, it can not be that bad, but even summit day for us, it wasn't that bad. But when you actually look at it, you just never get like relief, especially like the one I'm saying when that sun goes down. So if you are someone that gets cold hands or cold feet, make sure that you bring those proper, so great gloves. I had 8,000 meter gloves. I had RAB gloves, and I still had a hand warmer in it for summit day, and I never took that out. Put an extra one in. So just make sure you bring those and just have really great equipment with you. If you are doing it by yourself, or like not by yourself, but without a guided company, you're probably wondering how much time to spend at Basecamp. One of the main things is just going to be, from there, you're going to be looking for your weather window. And that's gonna be how much time. You really can't, like if I were to go up the first year, there was so much worse weather up there that it made, we would have been staying at Basecamp a lot longer. There ended up being quite a few weather windows in a row, and getting up to Camp 1 actually was a really terrible weather day, and at Camp 1 was horrific, but from there on out, it actually was decent. So what I would recommend would be, make sure that we got there to Basecamp and took an off day. Then we did a carry to Camp 2, came back. Then we did a carry to Camp 1, came back, and then we had another off day. And so we only ever had like 3 off days. 2 or 3, sorry. 2 or 3 off days at Basecamp, and I believe it's 2 total. But that's because we had great weather coming and we wanted to make sure we hit that weather window at the summit. But if we weren't going there, like we were going basically as fast, I think, almost as you can go. So if you don't see a weather window, don't worry, hang out at Basecamp, enjoy yourself. That's all I have to say there. It kind of just depends on the weather window. But when it comes to cost of Aconcagua, that's probably my biggest question that I get asked. So the first year, basically most companies that you're using, permit will not be included. A few things, obviously in Argentina, the currency is not stable right now, so you want to bring over US dollars because they will accept US dollars almost anywhere, especially for the permit. When we were there, the people in front of us actually had Argentinian pesos, and it had fluctuated the market so much the night before and had gone up like 10%, so they didn't end up having enough money when they were in line for the permit. So make sure you bring the 800 US dollars, and that could change for next year, but the only 2 years I've done it, it has been 800 US dollars, and just have that in cash ready to go and then give it to them. It partly might depend on the time of year. I did it the exact same time of year, which was right through like Christmas and then right before New Year's summiting. But in general, for the actual permit itself, it will be 800 US dollars. When it actually comes to the guided company, it kind of just depends who you're using. For example, Grijalva's, I know the first year it was around 5,000, maybe a little bit more US dollars. For some of the other companies, I know that they can be more because they don't bring as many people, and then it's kind of like more of a 2-to-1 ratio or a 3-to-1 for the guide. Some of them also have tons of people, so I know it's more like $3,000. Again, not including the permit. So if you're actually using a guided company, I would say it's anywhere from like $3,500 to more like $7,000. If you were to do it, like I said, with logistics, and you can look up Grijalva's logistics, and I'll try to link it below as well. But that was $1,200, and then that didn't include the permit. So that was just under $2,000. Again, I didn't get a guide or anything like that, but I basically got everything else, and I got amazing food. I can't describe the food at Basecamp. It's so good. I will actually insert a quick picture here because it's that good. It would be like dessert every day, be like ribs. You think you're gonna lose weight at Aconcagua? You do not. Have any additional cost questions, I'm very happy to answer them below. Of course, none of that is included with your equipment, and there are 2 different rental companies in Mendoza itself, but I think that the equipment, I rented a couple things the first year and it just wasn't all that great in the best shape. So I would recommend purchasing it if you can, and if you plan on doing any other mountaineering in the future, now you have it, now you don't ever have to rent it, and you're getting it for yourself. That's just definitely what I would recommend. I know a lot of people will go straight to like REI and purchase it all. I was someone who I priced it all out. I got some secondhand from people who had just finished Denali or something like that. So any situation, depending on your financial state, you definitely can make it less expensive, but at the same time, it can definitely be a pricey thing. It's mainly to do with it's one of the 7 summits of the world. People are wanting to do it, and honestly, it's only gonna get more expensive, and that's just kind of what I think. It did not vary in price from when I did it the first time to the second time, but just so many people wanting to do it now. It got so much more popular that second year that I would just say it's gonna get more and more popular. That's just my opinion. Final kind of just question, people ask me like, what do you wish you knew before you went? And that's such a great question. I think my biggest thing, honestly, is before I left, I went to Peru and I was like, I'm gonna acclimatize, and I was there for about 2 weeks, and I was sitting in Juarez, Peru, which is like 3,100 meters. I was doing these 5,000 meter hikes, and I was like, I'm good to go. My biggest thing is you're not going to feel good. Don't think that this is a vacation. It's more of in my best way of saying, more of a business transaction kind of thing. This is a goal you have in mind, but don't think it's going to be any kind of walk in the park. And I know it's not a technical hike, but your body does not feel good. Doesn't really matter if you're on medication in terms of Diamox or anything like that, which I did not take at all, but it just doesn't really matter. Your body is not happy. And it's more like during the day, it's great because it's moving, but once you're going to sleep, when you wake up, once I was at Camp 2 onward, didn't feel good. It's kind of like you have the world's worst hangover, you have the flu, and then you're gonna be asked to go and hike with a huge backpack on. Doesn't sound super fun, but I summited, so it made it all worth it. But anyways, that's basically my biggest thing would be, I thought I was gonna feel great because I had acclimatized already. I don't think it really matters too much. I think even most of the guides up there are kind of struggling. You're just not gonna feel good. It's not normal for your body to be at almost 7,000 meters above elevation without oxygen. So those are just kind of my 6 questions. Like I said, if you guys have any other additional questions, I'm very happy to answer them. You can comment them below. I also will leave my Instagram, and I post a lot of mountaineering stuff and kind of inspirational quotes and all that stuff. So I'll leave that below as well, and you're always welcome to send me a message on there. So hopefully you guys got something out of that. If you guys are planning on doing Aconcagua either next year or in the future, I wish you the best of luck, and I know it's just the best experience in the world. So thank you so much for watching. Keep living life, guys.